The first reading that I ever actually did for another was for my uncle, who found out through my family that I was studying the tarot, and if any of you go on to study the tarot, you'll find out that this is true. Family members and friends will all hound you right away to read their cards for them. And my uncle, who had been one of those outstanding skeptics and had said always in the past he was not interested in anything like that, when he found out that I was studying the tarot and reading tarot cards, he chased me all over the house. I had to read his tarot cards for him. So I was kind of nervous. I'd only done it for myself up till that point. I was still studying it, but I was strong-armed and I agreed to do a reading. And so we sat down together and I drew out the cards, and when it came to the future card position, the card that turned up was the Death card. And I learned a great lesson in that experience. I understood what the Death card meant. It means transition. It has nothing to do with physical death. However, I was not prepared for the reaction of my uncle. Of course, you saw that Death card and almost had a heart attack on the spot. And my aunt was present as well. So I assured them, repeatedly that this really didn't mean physical death, nothing to worry about. And of course, their lives were in transition. My uncle was just going into retirement. They were selling their home, moving into a different location. All those kind of things I knew about anyway. So that's probably what it's pointing to. And then after my aunt, she wanted to have her reading done too. I was really nervous now. So I agreed to do it. I thought, well, Death card can't show up in the future. It did. It showed up in her future position as well. And then we were all aghast and horrified and wondered what this meant. My uncle is still alive today, and that was 17 years ago. So it obviously wasn't referring to physical death, and I didn't really think so at the time. However, 3 months past that reading, my uncle did have to go for triple bypass surgery. And when his surgery came up, of course, the reading was the talk of the town. And I knew I'd never live it down. They were talking about it for a long time. But I think that it was a really wonderful, again, the tarot taught me to beware, to think about when you're doing a reading for another, it does carry a lot of responsibility. Because people, even the most skeptical people, when they see a card like death or the devil in their future, are going to respond from a cultural place. So clients are people who come to see me once a year. Some come to see me every couple of months. Clients normally are asking themselves, what does this mean? I have a new job, there's a new person in my life, I've had this new insight, where is this going? Sometimes fate has dealt them a blow. They feel blindsided by some event that was outside their control, and they wonder, how do I deal with this? That's what normally most people who are clients come to see a reader for. They are at a transition point in their lives, and they would just like to know, I have a feeling my life is really changing or something has happened. What does this mean? Some clients come on their birthdays or at the end or beginning of the years. And some clients, of course, offer tarot consultations as gifts. I do consultations by appointment, as you might know, and or you can find me down at Muse's Cafe. That's another place that I hang out if you're interested in a reading. So let's look at students of the tarot. Who are students of the tarot? Students are those people who have had a reading done, like many of you here, and are drawn to understand how all this really works. Now, what draws students is where the difference lies. Some are coming from a very artistic perspective, and they're artists, actually, and are drawn to the images and symbols of the tarot, and they want to try their hand at painting a deck, which is a really exciting and huge undertaking, but some do that. The storyteller and writer are attracted to the rich symbolism, which inspires storytelling and poetry writing, and it does develop your storytelling skills. The psychic is attracted to the tarot because they want to unlock the mystery to how the tarot works as a divination tool. The anthropologist is fascinated by the rich symbolism and metaphor that crosses cultural, religious, ethnic, and time boundaries. The psychotherapist is struck by the psychological insight that can be gained through a reading and understanding the universal message of the tarot. And my interest in the tarot came from several of those perspectives. I hold a master's degree in religion and culture, so I am a scientist of religion, and I am interested in studying the religious impulse. When I say I'm a scientist of religion, I've studied the psychology of religion, and I'm very interested in that topic from an academic point of view. But I also am very interested in the tarot as a divination tool as well, because I used that long before I actually received my formal education. So the tarot has followed me much longer than almost any of my other interests in my life. I think the tarot has something to offer everyone because it is all those things. It is beautiful imagery, it's rich with symbolism and metaphor, and it is a story about you and all of humanity. It talks about human development from both a personal point of view and a collective point of view. So you will learn something about yourself in your study of the tarot. That's inevitable. Some healers find the tarot reading a powerful adjunct tool to add to their repertoire. Some people simply can't wait to do readings for themselves. That's a powerful motivator. It was mine. Whatever the reason, there are significant numbers of people who are studying the tarot, and it builds more every year, growing very big and very fast since I began my study anyway. And I've told you my story. Looking at it from 1974 when I had an option of 2 decks in one bookstore in Toronto to 26 years later, decks are everywhere. There's 380 decks, I think, already in print on the market. So we're certainly looking in the last 25 years of burgeoning interest in the tarot. And I think that's a comment in itself.